Okay, we're recording again. Uh, if you've been tuning in every week, great. If not, uh, this will be recorded or is being recorded. So if anybody joins us in a minute, they'll know that. This is one of the most exciting things that that I learned as I was going along. Uh, and this one, you're probably going to need to get your calculators out to kind of run through some of this. And one of the reasons to record it is so you can watch it over and over again. These statistics I'm going to share with you are not only apply to the trucking business, but any business, and not the levels. Each business has its own things. Um, but imagine a truck that you had to run around to the left, jump outside, run around there to turn the turn signal on, and had to, reach way over there to apply the brakes and had to run around back to make it go. And, it's pretty handy that all of the controls are in one spot. And that's what this statistics is designed to do. Like when we get into this, you'll just be in one place, and from just a few little calculations, you'll know the health of your business. And if anything's off, if anything's out of whack, it'll tell you immediately, and you can be like, whoa, 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 okay, here's a indicator that things were maybe headed for a crash and probably don't want to be. The single biggest expense you probably have is your driver expense. Now, maybe you're the owner operator and you are the driver and the owner. But I would suggest that you separate the roles, just like through the whole um, master owner operator training, the that beginner level, those first 10. I talk quite a bit about that, where uh, you need to separate owner from working there. You can own something and not work there. You can work somewhere and not own it. So if you're driving, you need to get paid as if you're a driver. And I would suggest you invest the rest of the money you would make as an owner, just right back into retained earnings, rainy day fund, all that sort of stuff. That's where I would suggest. So assuming you are paying yourself as if you were a driver, how do you want to pay yourself? How would you pay someone else? Because you could own the truck. You could pay someone how much, and that's a question for you to answer in your own area, your own, equipment, what you haul. What would it actually cost to replace yourself? And you should be paying yourself that. No more, no less. Just for driving. Now, maybe you mechanic, maybe you are the dispatcher, maybe you're the owner. And so there is more money available. However, I would again suggest you keep that in the business, not pull it out, at least right at first. And what you'll do to figure this out is I like to do everything on statistics. I like to do everything on percentages. And what it just shows efficiency. Like at United Truck Parts, our truck parts business and service. We run a service truck too. I do the same thing. I know if my labor cost gets above 33%, it just shows our efficiency on how efficient our people are being throughout the week. Like on a service truck or a trucking operation, if you are paying more wages than the income that is coming in, that's not good. And as you whittle it down, you'll find the sweet spot where, okay, somebody works really hard for this amount of time and it should produce this much income. rather than this much income, this much in wages. You want a little effort for a lot of wages, or for a lot of gross revenue. Makes sense, right? But in this case, let's just say for the month, and these are just big round numbers. Don't hold me to these. Everything changes. Everyone's different. But if I have a driver, or I'm paying myself, and I'm paying 6,000, let's see, for around a month. Let's just say this is a month. $6,000 for the month, and that truck produced, our gross revenue was $25,000. Now you divide that, and that equals 24%. That's actually pretty good. Now let's just say I'm overpaying myself or another driver, and I paid $10,000 in wages to earn the same $25,000 in revenue. That's 40%. Obviously, that's not as good, right? If you can keep it below 33%, meaning the driver is and the truck is producing for every 33 cents it costs in wages, they make $1. Make you as the owner $1. Now that could be you driving, making you the owner $1. You got to have these in balance. If you get yourself up to 50% or so, you're not making enough revenue. You've either got to, we'll get into some of that. You've got to do something. If you get to 50%, things are on fire, and you need to pay attention. You want to keep it as low as possible. I don't know that you can get it, you can get it down to 20, 25% sometimes, depending on the season. But, every bit of deadhead you make changes that. Every bit of, detention time, any of that, it adds up. Back to direct and variable costs, that's what this is. That's what driver pay should be. It's not an overhead expense necessarily, because it's tied directly to the production of the truck. I wouldn't just pay someone salary, obviously. They're getting paid by the hour or by the mile, or a combination of hourly and production. That's up to you, but just pay attention. Drivers generally being the biggest expense you have on really in almost every business. That first line item of expenses is payroll. And so anything we can do, we need to pay attention to that. Fuel is generally the next largest expense every month, and as freight rates are somewhere, and fuel, as everything's always changing, it can be a fun, wild ride, right? I'm sure you guys know what I mean. But so it'll fluctuate. What I'm saying is it's you're kind of always riding the dance, you're kind of always floating along, but you're paying attention, so you know where it's at. Again, if your fuel cost is getting up 33% or more, something's really got to change. You're just spending more money in direct costs, and you won't have enough to cover your overhead or your fixed costs to even survive. So it's really important. So, and you'll just do it the same way. So let's just say that I spent $6,500 on fuel for the month, and my gross revenue for the month was 30,000. Okay, that would give me a 22% fuel cost. It means 22% out of every dollar that I earn is going right to fuel. It's just burning it. Now it's a cost of unit production. but it's okay. It's a direct and variable cost, meaning the more diesel we burn, hopefully the more money we're making. But if every dollar I make, it's costing me 30, 40, 50 cents of that dollar just in fuel, that's not good. Not good. And you can see where, if my labor cost is high and I'm getting up there 50%, so 50 cents out of every dollar is going to labor. Let's say my fuel is high because I'm kind of inefficient. Uh, right there, we're 80, 70, 80 cents of every dollar is gone. There isn't going to be enough left over to make truck payments, to make repairs, all your overhead, um, equipment. Now we start getting into fixed costs, overhead costs. These you have to pay whether you're running or not. These you have to pay. The bank does not care whether you made any money or not. You signed a promissory note, and they want it. I would keep my total equipment, trucks, trailers, everything below 15% of your gross revenue. Again, so 15%, meaning out of every dollar that I earn, 15 cents or less should stay below. 10% is way better. Obviously, if you can get in a higher equity position, more cash, less credit, it starts to be okay. It starts to you can feel the relief, and you can just breathe because you're not a slave to the bank. So a couple examples. If my total payments and repairs and maintenance are around 3,300 for this given time period, and however you want to do your books is fine. If you like to calculate on a per week, you like to calculate on a per month, 2 weeks, however you want to do it is fine. Just make it always the same. But let's just say for the month, maybe I'm 3,300 in payments, truck trailer payment, and repairs and maintenance. And let's say I earned $25,000 in income. That's a 13% equipment maintenance fee. So again, out of every dollar, 13 cents. So you can see how I got driver pay, I got fuel, I got equipment. Like these things start to add up, and if one thing is out of whack, there's just not enough money left over. Some of the things to look at of why your numbers might be getting higher than they ought to be. Your gross income be too low as compared to your equipment costs. Then maybe we all do this, not everybody, but I bought some trailers it was for a grain haul, and I got all committed and bought all these things, and then we only ended up using them for a few months. And so it took me a couple years to kind of get all the way out of them, but I had to make a payment on those trailers, even though I wasn't using them year round. And so, I mean, that hurt. Lesson learned. Like, it all boils down to your equipment, repairs and maintenance. It's just too high. So, are you running junk? Okay, you probably should look at getting something better, or fixing stuff better, or more right. Or, I mean, there's all these things to look at, which we go into more detail back in the equipment section. But this one's just all about the statistics. So I'm moving kind of fast through some of these. Part of it is I'm running out of time on our Zoom meeting here. Of course, we have admin. Okay, we have the truck, we've got a driver, and we've got fuel. Those are the big ones. but we still have to run this thing. We have dispatching, marketing, business growth. We need some money to work to have rainy day funds and saving up for future equipment. You also need to invest some time working on the business. If you've not read Michael Gerber's book, the main one, the E-Myth, there's a big difference between working in your business and working on your business, WOTB, on the business. You need to invest some time there. Accounting, bookkeeping, 10% for everything is for that admin section is good. So if you're paying your dispatcher, and this wouldn't be a broker, this would just be a dispatcher. If you're paying them, if you do the math and you're paying them 15, 20%, now there's not enough money for driver wages or fuel or equipment. It just all has to all fit into. We only have $1 here, and everything has to fit in there. Everything has a home, needs a spot, and you just have to keep it in balance. And as long as you keep these 5 or 6 things right in balance within your ranges, there's going to be plenty of money. And you'll just kind of live this carefree kind of life. It's like, yeah, you're going trucking and everything's good. Things are progressing and we're not where I want to be yet, but things are moving. So I would encourage you to find exactly what you're overpaying for and just get it. So driver pay around 30, fuel, equipment, business should all equal 85%. If it's higher than that, you should probably check it out. If you don't have any left, if you do all those, you do your numbers, you look at them all, and your total turns out to be 112%, well, out of every dollar, if you're spending $1.12, got a little problem. So, but in this case, if we can keep those in balance, should end up with this 10 to 20 trucking, no matter how you feel about it, it's a commodity. We want to always move towards becoming a real service and less of a commodity. But it's a 10 to 20% margin business or less. Sometimes there's no money, but it's kind of, you got to pay attention. But if it was 15% on $30,000 for the, if that was our monthly gross revenue, that means we have $4,500 profit. We've already paid ourselves, paid fuel, paid for everything. Everything's paid for. We have $4,500 as the business owner. I wouldn't take this. I would not take this money out. I would leave it. Pay yourself as a driver. Keep the money in the business. Get ready for rainy days because they're going to happen. So basically, the homework is for you to just do your own numbers. Just what are your driver costs? What is your fuel cost percentage? Your equipment percentage? Your profit? Calculate it on regularly, weekly, monthly. I don't really care, but something. And my Zoom meeting, I should have started another Zoom meeting, but this one, I did both of these in one, and so this one was a little rushed, but it's going to kick us out here really quick. So if you have any questions, jump on. We'll use whatever time we have left.